Here's a startling truth: after the age of 80, only 5 out of every 100 people can still perform 5 simple physical tasks. 5 movements that might look ordinary to you right now. Movements like standing up, walking steadily, or holding your balance for a few seconds. But don't be fooled by their simplicity. These are not just casual motions. They are some of the most powerful predictors of your future health, your independence, and even how long you may live. Doctors and scientists around the world now use these tests to measure something that blood pressure and blood tests often miss: your functional age. Not the number on your birthday cake, but how well your body is truly aging. And here's the part most people don't realize. Decline doesn't happen overnight. It starts quietly. Maybe you use your hands to push out of a chair, or you notice you walk slower than before, or your balance feels a little shaky. You dismiss it, thinking, "Oh, I'm just getting older." But research shows these tiny changes are massive warning signs. They predict whether you'll stay active and independent, or whether you'll gradually slip into needing help with basic daily life. Now here's the good news. Weakness in these 5 areas is not a life sentence. Every one of them is trainable. Just because decline begins, doesn't mean it must continue. In fact, people in their 70s, even 80s, can often reverse their performance in just a few months with the right approach. That's why, if you're over 60, or planning for the decades ahead, this is the single most important video you could watch today. These 5 tests are deceptively simple: standing from a chair, walking a few feet, balancing on one leg, gripping with strength, and moving at a steady pace. But beneath each one lies a complete story of your health, strength, coordination, heart and lung capacity, even your brain's ability to process movement. Medical research has linked performance on these movements to nearly everything that matters as you age: fall risk, hospitalization, cognitive decline, and long-term independence. And the best news? No matter where you're starting from, you can improve. If you see a weakness, it's not a verdict. It's an invitation. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand, and more importantly, the step-by-step plan to rebuild your strength, your steadiness, and your control of life. Let's begin. Our very first test looks simple, maybe even too simple. But don't underestimate it. The humble chair rise, also called the sit-to-stand test, is one of the strongest indicators of whether you will stay independent well into your 80s and beyond. Think about it. How many times a day do you get out of a chair? From the dining table? From your couch? From the toilet? From your bed's edge? Rising from a seated position is a movement we repeat dozens of times every single day. Yet it's often the first everyday activity that begins to slip as we age. So here's your challenge. Sit tall in a firm, stable chair. Plant your feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart. Now, instead of pushing yourself up with your arms, cross your arms over your chest. This way, the power must come purely from your legs and core. Stand up, all the way, until your knees and hips are straight. Then, lower yourself back down slowly, with control, no collapsing into the chair. Your task is to repeat this motion as many times as you can in 30 seconds. Use a timer, or ask a friend or family member to count for you. Now, here's the benchmark. If you're over 80 and you can complete 10 repetitions in 30 seconds, you are in the top tier of functional independence. That is the gold standard. Research shows people who meet or exceed this benchmark have a significantly lower risk of falls, hospitalization, and even early death. In fact, multiple studies, including reports published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation and studies indexed on PubMed Central, confirm that performance on this one test is strongly correlated with survival rates and quality of life in older adults. But if you fall short, don't panic. Struggling with this test is not the end, it's the beginning. It's a powerful wake-up call that your legs are losing the force needed to push you against gravity. And when the legs weaken, it affects everything: climbing stairs, getting out of cars, rising from the floor after a fall, even the ability to step quickly to prevent a stumble. The chair rise is about more than just your quadriceps. It's a full-body assessment. Your glutes fire to extend your hips. Your core stabilizes your spine. Your cardiovascular system pumps harder with each repetition. That's why this single movement gives doctors such a comprehensive snapshot of your functional capacity. So, what if you struggle? Here's the improvement plan. Start exactly where you are, even if that means using your hands lightly on your thighs for support. The key is to engage your leg muscles consciously. Focus on your form, keep your back straight, lean slightly forward as you rise, and push evenly through your feet. Do sets of 5 chair rises, 3 times per day. Consistency is far more important than volume at first. Over time, reduce the assistance from your arms until you can perform the movement with arms crossed. Once that feels easier, it's time to progress. Add more repetitions. Or, for an extra challenge, hold a light dumbbell or weighted object close to your chest as you rise. This not only builds leg strength but also trains your body to handle real-world loads, like carrying groceries or lifting a grandchild. I've seen seniors in their late 70s who struggled to do even 2 repetitions at the start, gradually progress to 12, 15, even 20 controlled chair rises within just a few months. And the transformation wasn't just in the numbers. They reported walking faster, climbing stairs without gasping, and feeling more confident every time they stood up. So, test yourself. Where do you land today? Record your result, write it down, and keep it safe. This is your baseline. In a month, repeat the test. You'll be amazed how quickly you can reclaim this essential strength when you train it daily. Remember, strong legs aren't about vanity. They are about survival, freedom, and dignity. Every repetition is an investment in your independence. Our second test may be the most widely used quick measure of mobility in older adults worldwide. Doctors, physical therapists, and researchers trust it because in just a few seconds, it reveals how your body and brain work together. It's called the Timed Up and Go test, or simply, the TUG. Now, don't be fooled. This isn't a marathon. It's not a strength contest. It's a short, 10-foot walk. But in those 10 feet, your body tells a story of your strength, your balance, your coordination, and even your risk of falling in the months and years ahead. Here's how to do it. Sit in a stable chair, ideally without armrests, or at least resist the urge to push with your arms. Place your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. When you're ready, go, stand up, walk forward 3 meters, about 10 feet, turn around 180 degrees, walk back to your chair, and sit down again with control. That's it. The whole sequence takes less than half a minute. But now comes the key part: time it. Have a stopwatch or a phone timer handy. So, what's the benchmark? If you're over 80 years old and can complete the TUG in under 12 seconds, you are in excellent shape. That's a sign of low fall risk, strong functional mobility, and good integration of strength and coordination. If your time creeps above 20 seconds, though, that's a serious red flag. Research, published in journals like the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity, and summarized in resources like Physiopedia, shows that TUG times over 20 seconds strongly predict higher fall risk, reduced independence, and greater likelihood of hospitalization. In fact, in some large population studies, TUG time has been found to predict mortality itself, your chance of surviving the next 5 years. That's how powerful this simple test really is. But here's the most encouraging part: like the chair eyes, the TUG is trainable. You are not stuck with your current number. Your nervous system and muscles can adapt, even in your late 70s, 80s, and beyond. Let's break it down. The TUG is really 4 movements strung together. The stand. Can you rise from the chair without using your arms? This measures raw leg power and core stability. The walk forward. Those 10 feet test your gait speed, stride length, and cardiovascular fitness. The turn. Pivoting 180 degrees demands balance, spatial awareness, and quick weight shifting. Many falls happen during turning movements. The return and sit. Finally, you walk back and sit with control, no flopping, no collapsing. That closing movement tests your ability to decelerate and use your strength smoothly. Each phase reveals something vital. Put together, they give us a snapshot of how your entire system functions in real time. So, how do you improve your TUG score? Start by practicing the parts separately. Do a few chair rises every day to build the strength to launch yourself up. Work on walking speed by timing yourself over short distances. Focus on lifting your feet fully and taking confident strides. Practice the turn near a counter or sturdy surface, tighten your core, pivot carefully, and retrain your balance. And finally, rehearse the sit-down phase with control, no crashing into the chair. Once you're comfortable with the parts, put them back together. Repeat the full TUG once or twice a day. Track your time weekly. Even small improvements, shaving off 1 or 2 seconds, are massive victories that can lower your risk of falls and injuries. Let me share a story. Alberta, age 76, went in for a checkup and took the TUG test. Her result? 28 seconds. Her doctor quietly suggested she start thinking about a walker. But Alberta wasn't ready to accept that. Instead, she made it her personal mission. She broke the test into pieces: chair rises in the morning, brisk walking in her hallway, pivot turns in the kitchen. 6 months later, she retested. This time? 11 seconds. She didn't just pass a test, she kept her freedom. She proved that decline is not destiny. And here's the truth: you can do the same. Whether you're at 10 seconds or 25, progress is possible. Your body is more adaptable than you think, and your nervous system can relearn agility and balance when you give it consistent practice. So, take this test seriously. Time yourself. Record the number. This isn't just a number on a stopwatch, it's a window into your future mobility. and it's a number you have the power to change. Here's the setup. Stand tall with feet together. Place one hand lightly near a chair, countertop, or wall, just in case. Now, lift one foot a few inches off the floor, bending the knee slightly. The challenge? Hold that position. Time how long you can balance without letting your raised foot touch the ground or grabbing for support. For adults in their 80s, being able to balance on one leg for at least 5 seconds is considered a positive sign. Fewer than that, and research shows your fall risk is significantly higher. In fact, large studies, PubMed, PMC, show that one-leg balance time is linked not only to fall risk but also to overall mortality risk. People unable to balance for even 10 seconds had notably higher chances of health complications over the next 7 years. Why? Because balance isn't just about the legs. It's about how your inner ear, vestibular system, brain, vision, and muscles all coordinate together. Declines here signal more than just wobbly legs. They can indicate neurological aging, sensory decline, or even cardiovascular strain. Balance reflects your body's ability to control its center of gravity. It's an early warning system. A decline here often comes before obvious frailty, falls, or hospitalization. It also mirrors how well you'll handle real-life challenges, stepping onto a curb, turning quickly, avoiding a trip hazard, or regaining footing if bumped. Start small. Hold onto a sturdy surface and practice lifting one foot just for 2 to 3 seconds. Gradually release your hand for brief moments. Build progression. Hold longer each day, aiming for 10 to 15 seconds per leg. Once comfortable, reduce your reliance on support. Later, challenge yourself, close your eyes briefly, turn your head side to side, or balance on a slightly softer surface, like a yoga mat. Heel-to-toe walking in a straight line. Side-to-side shifts with feet together. Mini single-leg dips or step-ups. Mind-body practices, Tai Chi, yoga, and Pilates are all scientifically proven to improve balance and proprioception in older adults. Consider Margaret, age 82. She realized she couldn't balance for more than 2 seconds on one leg. At first, she thought it was just old age. But her physical therapist explained it was a warning sign. With 3 months of daily practice, just 5 minutes a day of one-leg stands, plus some light yoga, she improved to over 12 seconds. More importantly, her confidence skyrocketed. She went from fearing outdoor walks to strolling in the park again with her granddaughter. Her story shows, balance can be rebuilt at any age. Balance is trainable. Even a few seconds of improvement can cut your fall risk, increase independence, and extend healthy years of life. Next comes one of the simplest yet most powerful tests in all of geriatric medicine, walking speed. Here's how to do it at home. Mark out a short distance, 4 or 5 meters, that's about 13 to 16 feet. You can use painter's tape on the floor or even measure along a hallway. Stand at one end. On, go, walk forward at your normal, comfortable pace. Don't rush, don't shuffle, just how you'd usually walk. Have someone time you, or use your phone stopwatch, until you reach the other end. For accuracy, walk back and take the average of the 2 trials. Doctors often call gait speed the 6th vital sign. Just like blood pressure, pulse, or temperature, your walking speed tells a deep story about your health. In older adults, a gait speed below 0.8 meters per second, that's about taking longer than 6 seconds to cover 5 meters, is considered a red flag. It's associated with higher risk of falls, hospitalization, disability, and even mortality. On the flip side, faster walking speeds, closer to or above 1 meter per second, are linked with longer survival, greater independence, and a lower risk of dementia. One landmark study found that walking speed could predict life expectancy almost as reliably as age itself. Walking speed is not just about your legs, it integrates your cardiovascular fitness, lung capacity, muscle endurance, nervous system coordination, balance, and even cognitive processing. If your steps are slowing down, it may indicate subtle declines in heart health, brain function, or muscular strength, often before other symptoms appear. Practically, this test mirrors real-life needs: getting across the street before the light changes, keeping up with grandchildren, or managing errands without exhaustion. Interval walking, alternate between a comfortable pace and a slightly brisker pace for 20 to 30 seconds at a time. Over weeks, your average walking speed will improve. Hill or incline walking, if safe, practice gentle slopes or treadmill incline walking. This boosts both leg strength and cardiovascular endurance. Pole walking, start with walking poles or a cane for confidence if needed. Over time, as your balance and strength improve, practice without them. Leg strengthening drills, chair rises, calf raises, and step-ups all feed directly into faster, stronger walking. Consistency is key. Aim for at least 10 to 15 minutes of purposeful walking daily. Even short sessions accumulate into noticeable changes in gait speed. Take James, age 79. When he tested himself, it took him almost 10 seconds to walk 5 meters. He was shocked, because he thought he was still doing fine. His daughter helped him start a program of daily interval walks, leg strengthening, and light hill training. 6 months later, his walking time dropped to under 6 seconds. More importantly, he said, "I don't get winded crossing the street anymore, and I can keep up with my grandson on our evening walks." His story shows that even small improvements in gait speed ripple out into real-world freedom. Walking speed predicts independence and longevity. Even small improvements reduce disability risk and extend healthy years. Now let's talk about something important. What if you can't pass some of these tests? First, hear me clearly, failing a test is not failure. It's not a life sentence. It's not a reason to panic or to give up. Instead, it's a signal, your body's way of whispering that something needs attention. And signals are good, because they give us a chance to act before a problem becomes a crisis. In fact, geriatric specialists emphasize this point. These 5 functional tests are screening tools, not final judgments. They show you where your strengths are and where you're most vulnerable. That means if your balance is shaky, or your walking speed is slow, you've just uncovered the exact area to target for improvement. Here's the mindset shift: you don't need to ace all 5 tests at once. You don't need perfection. What you need is progress. Every small gain in strength, balance, or speed translates directly into more independence in your daily life. Prioritize your weakest domain. If your single leg balance is poor, start there with daily practice near a wall or counter. If your sit-to-stand test is weak, focus on building leg strength and core stability. If your walking speed is slow, incorporate short daily walks, gradually pushing the pace. Blend the 4 pillars of training. Strength for your muscles. Aerobic work for your heart and stamina. Balance drills for fall prevention. Flexibility for fluid, pain-free movement. Progress gradually, safely. You don't jump from zero to expert. Instead, you build one brick at a time. If you can only do 2 chair rises today, celebrate those 2. Next week, maybe you'll manage 3. That's progress. Retest monthly. Write down your baseline scores. Then, once every 4 weeks, test yourself again. Celebrate improvements, however small. A second faster on the timed up and go, 2 more seconds of balance, 1 more chair rise, these are all victories. I once read about a woman named Alberta, who failed almost every test at age 76. She couldn't stand from a chair without using her arms, she wobbled on balance, and her walking time was high. Instead of giving in, she used these results as a training guide. Each day she practiced, sometimes only 5 minutes at a time. Within 6 months, she passed 3 of the 5 tests. Within a year, she passed all 5. Her words were powerful. These weren't just exercises. They were my ticket back to freedom. That's what this is really about, freedom. The freedom to walk confidently, to climb stairs, to carry groceries, to play with grandchildren, to travel, to live life on your own terms. These tests are not pass, fail. They are guideposts. Weakness is a map to strength, and progress at any age is possible.